It feels like he would be a cut below what UCal's been able to show us this year so far. So an interesting one, definitely perplexing. But here we go into the draft for game number 2. Brion continuing to, rock this haircut, but so far it hasn't really worked, especially towards the late game. Like his early laning, it was fine, and then he gets solo killed, and then throws his life away a few too many times, and then they lose the first game. And now Fredit Brion with a lot of momentum moving into this second one. Banning away the Talia. You've got the Gragas and the Olaf also on the bench now. Well, let's see what Umti's going to be rocking today as well. I don't really want to see any more Udyrs.
No.
Wolf, that's I think he's done his time. And I think if you're Pyoshik, you play it. If you're not, don't.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of ways to look at where Udyr's success has been in the LCK, and it's usually either been with teams that would have won no matter what jungle they picked. Probably could have gone with Jungle Jacks in some of those games, or it's Pyoshik, right? So, yeah. I'm hoping we see a move away from that as well. I don't want to point too many fingers at Blank in terms of his individual performance that last game, but the composition didn't gain anything out of the Udyr pick at all, especially in the later stages of the game that they probably didn't expect to be going to a 40-minute plus game, but
yeah.
I mean, at that stage of the game, Udyr is just looking pretty, and it's going to get first picked.
Okay, that's fine. Udyr's going to get a lot of priority. Bonnie, very happy with that decision as well. I'm sorry I let my emotions get the better of me there. But that's all right. Kais is going to be given up over to the side of Fredit Brion. Henna going to be playing that one once again. I thought that a lot of his cleanses actually that last game were absolutely fantastic. But it was a little bit overshadowed by some of these really clutch shockwaves. So I can understand why Lava picks up the player of the game, and also why he's going to priority pick the Orianna as well.
Yeah, it is. It's a 2-0 pick for him so far. It's been his safest pick. You know, he had that win against Showmaker in the lane that everyone remembers against the TF, and I like the priority here. When they take Udyr first, you get Kai'Sa, you make sure you lock down the Orianna. You're not going to give that over. As we see the Samira Rel bottom side here for KT. Very difficult to mess this one up in lane, but it is, one of those compositions that requires a lot of finesse in the team fights. If you fall behind in lane, things can certainly get out of hand very quickly.
Yeah, the answer is just going to be Fredit Brion sticking to what works, because of course they played all of these champions in the last game. Very comfortable on them as well. We'll see whether the Seraphine ban comes in case Dub's been practicing it. Haven't been able to check out his solo queue just yet because, of course, wasn't really expecting him to be playing. UCal, by the way, has not been playing any Seraphine mid at all during solo queue, so they tried to keep it as hidden as possible, but it didn't actually work out with their debut of it. Victor going to be banned away from Dove. Maybe they just forgot that there were bans, because that makes a lot of sense into UCal, of course.
Yeah. I mean, it's still a strong pick in the mid lane. See the Alistar ban onto Delight. I wonder if Seraphine actually goes through this draft and goes into the bottom side of the map for Fredit Brion, because we've been seeing a lot of Seraphine bans targeted against some of the players that really like to play it, and some players who have like really big champion pools in the bottom lane. Lehens is obviously the one that really comes to mind, but if left open in this case, especially against a bottom lane that has been historically fairly behind in the early to mid game stages and can definitely find themselves very behind into something like a Seraphine Kai'Sa, I wouldn't mind it actually here for Fredit Brion, but they're already going to lock in the Rakan. And Delight had some fantastic knockups in the late game there on the Rakan. It was actually one of the best late game Rakan I've seen in the LCK.
He actually he did have a very good game, so I don't mind this. That being said, he's not my favorite at the moment. It's just going to be their option into this rel, as Renekton being considered, blind of course, into Hoya. As I'm imagining Dove's voice. Definitely one of the best things about Dove is his deep voice. So he was talking there, and I was like, I wish I could hear you.
Hey, maybe he'll get POG. We'll get to hear them later on.
Hey, true.
Keep your hopes up. The Ornn ban is really smart here. It also prevents Fredit Brion from playing the literally exact same composition that they played last game. As it looks like Dove's coming in perhaps for a Zoe pick here.
And this is Dove's pick, right? Like, this is what he played all last year on Sandbox, and there's the insta-lock on the Scion. Hoya's like, I'm a big old tank player, and I'm gonna play a big old tank, and he absolutely is. As we've got it's the same comp. Like, it's the same comp.
It's the same thing, basically, except you don't have the items, but you have strong late game engage. You have an extremely tanky, slow top laner, very safe up in the top lane. You know, probably won't see Doran end up killing himself in the top lane by mistake again, but hey, anything's possible.
And even if he does, he comes back to life and gets to smack people. Heck yeah.
I wonder if this composition works, if there's a strong enough front line for the Zoe here, because if you get Vision, Zoe can be fantastic, but the Udyr pick, it's a decent front line, but it's not that stable, right? It's not like an Olaf where you're going to be able to roam freely into the front line no matter what to give Zoe that extra space to do the damage in the team fight. It does work out if Zoe hits a few paddle stars, then suddenly Samira presses R and the team fight is yours, but on the other hand, you know, if this Udyr falls behind, so Renekton doesn't work out, doesn't get a ton of an advantage against the Scion pick that's going to be pretty stable in the top lane. I do like the late game scaling, especially with the Graves here versus Udyr on the side of Fredit Brion. I think they could take a 2-0 here. It's certainly possible if they play this well.
If we get another 50-minute game, we 100% get Fredit Brion walking away with a win. I don't think that it's really going to be much of a question. Their front-to-back team fighting is just better straight up than what KT have, but like you were saying, there's a lot of mid-game acceleration opportunity here for KT. They should also have some decent early priority in these lanes, and we'll see whether Bonnie is just going to be able to be a better Udyr, right? Like, we've seen already that there are two different types of Udyr in the LCK. It's the ones that do nothing and Pyoshik.
Yeah.
And is Bonnie going to be a Pyoshik is going to be my question. As, of course, Udyr has one in the hands of other players, but... And he did actually today. Arthur as well showed that he could be a bit of a Pyoshik at times.
Yeah, it's just below 50% win rate right now. A lot of games played. And it's certainly been a pick that if you get behind, it's hard to catch up. But it's also a pick that skirmishes really well around objectives. You have the ability to chase down targets. Like, it's one of those picks where if you're almost disengaged, like if you're playing a comp that kind of looks to slowly poke in and then it's like, oh, it's not working, or you look for a hard engage and it doesn't work, you have to back away. Udyr doesn't let you cancel a team fight. Like, if you're in these skirmishes in the early game and you're like, well, maybe we'll just give this up, Udyr's like, no, I'm coming in and we're getting kills, so you have to stay and fight or I'm just going to kill you.
Yeah.
He's great at that, you know, especially in the early game.
Let's see how it's going to go. It's going to be the Ghost Udyr this time around for Bonnie. That's going to be the change-up as well. Not going with the fun skin, but this one's still pretty cool, so that's okay.
Yeah.
And we'll get a bit of a leash from Hybrid and Zeus.
Well, the team fights, too, for these two comps, you know, I think it's very execution-based, but the composition for KT Rolster is going to spike a little bit later on in the game. You're going to see Fredit Brion have a lot more control over those, you know, second, third Drake fights with the, or rather, KT Rolster will have fights over control of those second and third fights with the Samira pick, and the Fredit Brion comp will spike later. I think I said that backwards initially.
Yep.
Anyway, you guys know what I mean now. The scaling that you're going to see come up for this composition, and obviously the sustained damage that Graves is going to put on later on, is definitely something that the KT need to respect.
Well, in goes Zeus, trying to crash all of them forward as Fredit Brion pushed back. This is what KT picked for, right? Getting these lanes under control. And of course, top side of the map, you can see already that Doran is shoving this one in. That's how this one's going to go against the Scion. So making sure that they get all of this lane priority so that Bonnie can get around his jungle unhindered. The understandable sort of Udyr tactic. We'll just have to see whether we get more out of Bonnie as the game goes on this Udyr as well.
Yeah, it's really unusual to see subs like this, you know, for KT.
Yeah.
And it's an opportunity for these players to shine. And we know KT has a very expanded roster, and I think we might even see, during some of these trade periods that'll open up, especially after the first round robin, we might see some movement for KT since they've shown us so much flexibility. Based on what they did in Kespa Cup when they were able to use both rosters. Maybe we'll see something a little bit T1-esque later on once they start to develop this talent. I don't think we're quite there yet. I don't think we can make the comparison at this moment in time, but certainly something that could happen if they start to develop these players by putting them into a game or two here and there.
It's a double scuttle from Bonnie. Very nicely done. The deep ward from Doran was fantastic as well, making sure that they knew exactly where Umpty had ended up after his full clear of the jungle. And he was going to go down there, but Bonnie booked it and manages to grab that one before he goes back home and then returns to his Krugs, most likely, as they're going to be spawning in a couple of seconds.
Yep, pops up right as you say it. Ends up being a really nice start here for Bonnie, who's just speed running the jungle. That ability stresses me out, man. It ramps up so slow, but it feels like you always get hit by it no matter what.
Yeah, true. Teleport back to the lane for Lava as Hybrid dashes on forward. All right, they get a nice attract repel stun, but not able to get too much more. The follow-up damage actually pretty good here from Henna and Delight. And Bonnie not quite fast enough right now as he's got the Swifty boots as well. Wow.
Yeah.
He's going to go quick.
Yeah, he is very fast. This could be a new world record Udyr clear around, you know, if we're talking about the speed run. The timing there was really nice. He also had a control ward, so he knew he was going to rotate in for free after coming from main. But unfortunately, the lane was too pushed, so wasn't able to have get anything done there. And he's now just going to steal away these chickens.
Yeah, the ward is there, but there's just nothing that Umpty can do about it. He's going to take his wolves, and unfortunately, he's losing the race. You mentioned the speedrun. Yeah, around the jungle, definitely going to be in favor of the Udyr. As he'll pop over and look to take down these Krugs as well. Good positioning from Umpty. And I think he knows this is happening as there is a ward in the area.
I mean, he was spotted on the chickens as well, so Bonnie is going to have to hightail it out of there. That's called the grave skip, where you just don't fight the graves and walk away.
Nice.
Very difficult to
loses
execute.
him a little bit of time, but it's okay otherwise, as Lava takes a lot of damage there from the Paddle Star. Good bubble to land from Dove. Good to see that he's still the same Zoe that we remember. Definitely was his best champion.
Yeah. Though later on in the game, the Zoe is going to be pretty awesome at doing sustained damage. As long as, you know, Lava doesn't get too far ahead, or if they don't fall too far behind in general. That's something that you're going to need vision for, but it's really, really powerful. And we haven't seen Zoe that much recently in LCK. Kind of sad about that.
Well, three-man movement towards the river here, as Umpty just says, nah, it's my scuttle, mate. And it's going to be his first of the game, so I think he deserves it. And Delight's going to come up and help him out. They did have inside track on the bottom side, which is why you saw KT not actually engaging. Couldn't get the Samira in there. Delight getting over the top just fine.
They are very low on, or Dove is very low on mana, but he's still holding his own in the lane. And Fredit Brion, despite having Umpty here and that you know, fast track that you mentioned, they're not going to take the Drake. They're not going to take a risk just yet. As I feel like there was an opportunity for them to try to force that skirmish, but the Rel is so scary in this stage of the game. Just decide against it. But once Hybrid hits 6 here, I think KT might be able to turn this on its head big time and try to make a play for that first Drake, because that's a huge spike for team fight potential here for KT's composition.
Well, we're a train towards the top side. The Barbarian Scion is pretty cool. We don't see it enough, actually. It's too much of the Titan Scion one, which actually does turn into a train. And so I just call it a train every time. But that's not a train. That's just a Barbarian running real quick.
It feels like it's a train, though.
Yeah, it does. And the sound is still very train-like, as here's the crash down and has to flash. Delight just going to battle dance on top of him, but that is a valuable flash to have here on the bottom side, and they're continuing to push forward. Hybrid had that S-rank for a little while as Delight, he's just going to stick around. Not exactly what you want. Doesn't quite have his Q back, and that's going to be first blood so easily. Zeus beautifully tanks up the turret and doesn't even die for it.
That was perfect timing. They know that Hybrid's going to hit 6 when he clears the wave, and he's going to have his Inferno trigger online. Gets S-rank. Doesn't have to use it, but because Henna respects it, so doesn't actually end up using it in that fight. But that was actually brilliantly timed for KT. And this is that spike I was talking about. You hit 6 with this Samira, and everything becomes a lot scarier on the bottom side of the map.
especially when you include the Rel in it, and they didn't need to use any of their flashes either to lock down that kill, so the pressure is just going to continue. Really nicely played from KT, and we've had a lot of question marks on Hybrid about his aggression and about what he's actually been able to get done. Some of his games, the damage certainly hasn't been there. I think he still has one of the lowest damage percentages of any of our marksmen in the LCK at the moment. But that was definitely a lot better. The follow-up from Zeus, of course, very, very strong.
Gonna see Herald for a Drake trade here. Fredit Brion have had a lot of control of the bottom side of the map, and despite this pick here, you know, he had to see the instant back of Delight, so there's just no way they can take that objective, or rather from Zeus. So he's gonna end up tanking this turret quite a bit. So the S rank was there as he hit 6, but he doesn't have to use it because this is just an insane advantage they have. And the rail positioning there. But right afterwards, you know, because Zeus has to back, they do rush down and grab the Infernal Drake, so it ends up being not terrible for Fredit Brion, but this advantage is starting to really show through in the bottom side.
Yeah, it's really nice. 2,000 gold is going to be the lead here for KT. And in goes Bonnie. He's going real quick as Dove looks for it. Shockwave lands onto Bonnie, and the bubble's also going to connect. Dove looks for the Paddle Star. And that's a lot of damage, but just uses the counterfeit flash to try and get a little bit more with those sparkles. Not able to quite do it, and Lava has teleport to get back to this lane, but did use the flash, so still good.
That's really huge. They loses the flash for some of these upcoming fights. Gonna make it a lot more difficult to put his ball where he wants to set up for some shockwaves. You know, the situation here is kind of coming true to the script of the draft, right? Where, you know, KT have this early game advantage. It's not huge, but it's significant enough to where it could snowball them into a little bit of objective control coming up here. And this is where they really need to grab hold of this game and start to push through these advantages. Because they have this Rel pick as well with the Samira, they could be super oppressive through this jungle, as you can see. And we see this so many times with the Felios and Thresh, but you can see it with the Rel here and the Samira as well, where you just push forward so aggressively when you get a lead, push down turret plates, and you just do not let Fredit Brion do anything. They're even going to get a second charge here, potentially.
Yeah, close. Should be able to, as Henna not able to poke its eye out before it crams it into the turret, so very nicely done. And Shirley getting a lot of value. We'll see whether Shirley can stand up to that one. Not entirely sure about that, especially
Don't think
all
so.
of the plates.
Not this game.
No. This is the really scary version of Samira, right? This is where we get all of those balance question marks, because she is off to a fantastic start.
Yeah. I mean, hit the six, you got the hit 6. She hit the 6 power spike, right? The 6 spike, and gets the kill there. Now she's got Immortal Shield Bow, and she's just roaming around the map, making trouble. She's just roaming around the map. Okay, you want to try to clear wards? You want to try to get some vision? Not gonna let that happen. And this is very similar to the Aphelio situation I was talking about, where you win bots so hard that you just swap to top, and then you force a reaction. Fredit Brion are gonna send, you know, their duo top as well. They react quickly. And this happens only when you have an AD that just gets out of control in lane and gets all those turret plates. So now they're going to try to feed more gold to Hybrid here.
They have more time to get these plates as well because it was so early.
Yeah, this is sub 12 minutes he's up here.
Damn. A frightening time to be a Fredit Brion fan. All of my broers out there. As, yep, Hybrid, pretty frightening. Enter into Light in position to try and catch this wave. See how many of these plates they can deny.
Look at the positioning here of Zeus, too. They want to collapse onto this.
We're four-man diving again. Yeah,
Quadra kill in a second.
Well, we've got the teleport coming from both the mid lane and the top lane. Lava and Hoya going to come on forward as this is a 5v5. Bubble going to go wide, but it's going to stop Umpty from running on through. So they do save their bottom lane, but at what cost? That's double teleport, now on cooldown. Now they need to get to the rest of the map as Doran dashing on forward. Here's the ulti, and now Hoya's trying to do it. Gets into the wall, gets the flash out of Hybrid. Pretty nice there for the Scion as he yells at Doran for a second, but they are just going to back away.
Yeah, this is getting a little bit of extra value for Dove in the mid lane. And you can see the fast rotation over here as well for Bonnie to steal another chicken camp. He's actually significantly ahead right now, and unfortunately for Umti, he's just not going to be able to come over here and take a fight. Can't try to steal his chicken back, but this ends up being 2 teleports, like you said. Still, the top side of the map is controlled by KT Rolster. Extra plate in mid gone. And this is just a fantastic control of this early game. Now, they should be able to force this fight after regrouping and backing for a second. They're going to reset. Should be able to force this fight in their favor on the bottom side of the map around this Ocean Drake. I don't think Fredit Brion should even contest it, given where they are on the map. They should definitely try to trade back a turret plate here. It's going to be... The timing of this is so unfortunate because it's going to fade right before the Drake fight.
Well, Fredit Brion is just trying to pick up the pieces, right? Try and play it slow, but it's 4,000 gold, the lead now. And KT are much more successfully snowballing this game at this point. Zeus going to jump in on top of Delight, actually gets the grand entrance interrupted. As Umpty trying to get some damage over the wall, but Zeus pretty tanky at this point in time. And KT just going to take down this Ocean Drake. We'll see what the soul is. My money's on Cloud because that's just how it's been, but could be Mountain as well.
Hey, there it is. Mountain.
Oh, nice.
Look at the turret plate difference here. 1120 to 160. That's where 1,000 of that gold lead is going to be. I mean, this is a one-kill game right now. It's just a macro outclassing from KT and their comp spikes at this stage of the game. So it makes sense that they're ahead. I think they're even more ahead than you want to be at this time. Like, you know, you're feeling like you've already passed the point of, okay, yeah, our comp is working. You're crushing, actually, at this stage.
Yeah, no, they're feeling very good about where they are in the game right now. I agree. Fredit Brion still, you know, they're trying to be like, let's slow it down, and they're looking at the top of the screen. They're like, oh, only one kill? Nice, we've nailed it. But the macro play is still just very, very good from KT, and these advantages are just going to continue as the game goes on.
Yeah, Hybrid
if they get their way, of course.
Yeah, they're gonna get the full turret. Didn't get all of the plates up here, but got a significant amount. There's more gold for the Samira player. Deer's got his Kim tank. And this is a moment where if you're Fredit Brion, you really just have to play safe, play defensively, just stay in lane, group up, and hope that you don't get caught in a skirmish because there's nothing to fight over right now. So there's just simply no reason to put yourself in a position where you're going to just fight into KT's strongest point in this game. Got to just sit back and wait, which is really unfortunate, you know, but that's how their comp has to play right now.
Well, Henna's just trying to get as much farm that he can. You saw that he was down by about 2,000 gold. That's largely because all of those turret plates, like you were mentioning, they were funneled onto Hybrid. And he's extraordinarily scary, as his serrated Dirk on top of his shield bow. And there's just a cute little quiver here for Henna, and that's not going to be enough. Let's see what he can actually afford when he goes back, and it's not a Gale Force or anything like that. Could be going Kraken Slayer this game, of course. And has been what we've been seeing a little bit more of, and especially when you've got an Udyr and a Renekton, maybe that's what you need to try and get through it. But maybe you need the Gale Force to get away. We'll have to see.
Yeah, I mean, it's a tough question right now. I think you need the Kraken Slayer for the damage because you're trying to scale up towards a Kai'Sa that is going to have to be doing the big work in these team fights. Is going to have to chew through that front line. You know, when the engages come through from KT. But, you know, the Gale Force can help you survive, but I think surviving is not enough when you're heading into this late game so far behind.
Yeah, you have Killer Instinct as well, so you can use that for a little bit of extra safety, I guess. So that might be the argument, but we'll see where he goes. He needs to buy it first.
Yeah.
So far, things aren't working out very well. Now it's Shirley's turn to put her head into this turret, and is going to do so very comfortably as Doran looking for an engagement. He is going to take a fair bit of damage here, this Hoya. Devastating smash over the wall, nailed it. Can Shirley do it? Oh, looks like the answer's no. No, smacked out of the air.
Almost lived up to her older sister, but
yeah, not quite able to. That's all right.
That's okay. She did well in the previous series.
Yeah, she had a good run.
Can't win them all, you know. Looks like we might be going to a game 3, so there's still hope.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I'm gonna get the dream. It's the 12 games in 2 days.
Yep.
Situation.
I already cracked my sponsor-approved energy drink just a few moments ago.
Sponsor-approved. I like it.
I'm ready. I'm ready for the long night of League of Legends. It's not going to be as long as you guys had last night. Knock on wood, but.
Yeah, we need to get the pauses in here. Where are the pauses? Can we cast a curse that one as well? I'm sure we can. I'm sure we can. As yeah. Well, Fredit Brion, I mean, they still know what they're supposed to do, right? They're like, let's hold on for as long as we possibly can. And you know, KT did have some control in the first game, but this feels like a more successful snowball so far. That being said, I mean, I'm saying snowball. It's still just one kill.
Yeah.
in almost 20 minutes. I know there's probably a lot of LCK resident sleepers in chat.
Well, there's also a lot of, you know, a lot of the gold that lead that they have is funneled into the Samira, and you know she's already hit her spike, and this next Drake fight is probably where she's going to be at her strongest in terms of advantages. But Henna is going to eventually catch up. Like, he's probably sitting on a ton of gold right now, has not backed in a long time, and you know it's not a comp where like the Samira is just amazing all game long. Like, the gap is going to close the longer this game goes on, for sure. Is you're just able to clear farms so quickly. Henna is as the Kaisa, and you're going to start to get those items online the later it goes. So right now the lead for KT is, it's not, I don't want to say it's fading away, but this is where they are at their strongest. And as long as Fredit Brion can stabilize after that, you know, we could have an even game on our hands.
Well, there's the quickness. They do manage to slow down Doran, who gets underneath the turret. Teleport will come forward. All of the teleports towards the top side as Doran does manage to take down the Rakan, but the answer is still going to be there. Dove now regretting this teleport as he flashes out of the shockwave. There's a decimating smash onto Hybrid. Hoya not too worried about tanking damage right now because he's Scion. And yeah, he can soak bubbles. He can do whatever he wants. He's just a big boy. And Dove not going to go 1 versus 4.
Meanwhile, just going to take this Drake away. Like, you guys can have a fun time. You guys can party up here. I'm gonna. He's the grasshopper in the Ant and Grasshopper story. He's like, well, you guys gonna have fun while the sun's out, but I'm actually gonna save this Drake for the late game. So Doran actually overextends.
That's the LCK move as well. I love that.
Yeah, that's the play. Got a grasshopper sometimes. Or wait, no, I said it backwards, didn't I? The Ant's the one that works really hard. Whatever, you guys.
I actually have no idea what reference you're coming up with now. It's just, I heard insects and I was like, that's cool, man. I don't know.
It's an old fable where the grasshopper plays, and then the ant actually stores up food for the winter, and then you know the ant is having a bad time. The grasshopper's like, yeah, you want to come hang out with me? And the ant's like, no, winter's coming. I'm gonna stock up. In this case, Bonnie was the ant. You know, he stocked up for winter.
All right, okay.
And Doran, you know, he had a fun kill on the Delight turret, really getting involved in that one.
Who are you? Are you a grasshopper or are you an ant?
I think I'm the ant, but depends, man. Off season, I'm definitely, well, I think I'm the ant. I think I'm the ant, but you know, off season, who knows?
Yeah, I think I'm the grasshopper in this equation. That being said, don't really know what it is. As the blue buff going to be secured, Henna actually going to take that one away. So there we go. Fredit Brion just grabbing some stuff back on this map, and the gold lead is, you know, it's stabilizing somewhat for those Fredit Brion fans out there.
Yep, the Kraken Slayer is finally completed here.
Yep.
Took a long time, but you know he did sit on a lot of gold for a while. He's got his jerk completed as well, and Umti built a Immortal Shield Bow, has some heal deny, pretty standard stuff here in terms of the itemization. But this Fredit Brion comp is becoming more and more front to back capable, you know, in terms of how these team fights are going to go. If they have vision control over these objectives like they do have over this Baron pit right now, you know, it's really difficult for the Zoe to actually get value and set up for nice fights. So you're always stressed out when you're KT Rolster when you end up losing vision around an objective like this, because your comp doesn't have hard engage, it has poke and then a Samira R button. Because that's how these fights are going to have to go.
I mean, they have the Udyr run really fast at you type situation, so that exists. That being said, the Udyr's done 0-0-0 so far in this game. Did manage to get a flash in the mid lane. Nice. But that's about it. As Hoya just going to shield smash these guys to death with his Soul Furnace. And that's just the classic where clearing waves as top laners. And I have a feeling that, you know, Doran's got a big lead, right? Like, he's 50 CS ahead.
Yep.
That's great news, but Hoya's just going to keep getting tankier and tankier and tankier and soaking up these minion waves where he can. Wave clear, very fast for the Scion, of course. And Fredit Brion now setting up around this Baron area. It's been alive for about 3 minutes.
KT have positional advantage, and they have vision control around the left side of this jungle, as Dove can just continue to toss out sleeps. It's gonna hit one right here. No follow up, but this is the scary part for Fredit Brion, because like, okay, how do I walk into these fights where you're gonna take so much damage from the Zoe as you try to approach these team fights? But by the time you get there, some of your front line is definitely taking some big hits. So that's why vision control is so important.
Yeah. The thing that I'm worried about here for KT is that they've sort of stopped trying to actually do anything. As we've got another back coming through from the Udyr. Big zoom in.
Yeah. The question is,
Not
like,
sure why. Just
are they...
checking out the animation, I guess.
Yeah, it's a pretty nice one. More animations going through.
Yeah, it reminds me of Beast from X-Men.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Maybe
sure.
this is the X-Men skin.
I think we can. I like the name of it because we didn't have the name of it before. We just. Maybe you did. I don't know what it's called.
No, I've never actually thought about it because I only really care about the definitely not Udyr skin, to be honest.
Yes.
But we're gonna have to talk about it now because there's not too much to talk about when it comes to the game. As Hoya's not gonna die. It's just not happening. You know, maybe if everyone comes.
Yeah.
And he's sort of just standing here.
He's
but,
still like,
the rest of Fredit Brion, they are moving towards this Baron, wanting to clear out the vision.
When KT is not the one making the vision control play to actually scare people into Baron fights with the Zoe comp, that's when you start to worry about their composition. Like, has it actually outlived its prime now? And I think the answer is very quickly becoming yes, as the collector is completed for Henna now. And, like, sure, they have the scuttle here. But besides that, like, KT really need to be careful about this fight, and I think it might almost be too late for them to engage on Ally. I mean, how many Battle Stars can you get before this Baron goes down? Let's find out.
Yeah, we'll have to find out, as teleport will come through. Hoya's still there, as you've got a good flanking position from Delight. KT, they know about it, of course, with that cheeky ward over the wall as Dove picks up a smite for himself. They will have the smite advantage for this one, so the turn, they're looking for it. Delight gets over the wall, but now not going to have that flank. His Grand Entrance also on cooldown. And there's the back away. The Baron should reset, but no, Hoya walks back in. They are going to keep it leashed for the moment. Dissonance doing a bit of damage there to Zeus, but he can still engage. As there's the flash forward, the Magnet Storm, everyone getting taken down solo. Samira already instantly with a triple kill. The Rel will fall, but that is going to be that. And KT should be able to just transition to the Baron.
Yep. Gonna get a kill onto Hoya here as well. He's gonna come look at the Baron real sad as his soul will expire there, but that's the power of the Samira, right? You know, you have the Collector online, BF Sword, and I mean, we talked about how it was getting caught up by Henna, but all it takes is a big Magnet Storm, Attract Repel combo, and then Samira presses the R button, and it just is a bad time.
Oh,
Fredit Brion. As Hybrid just cleans it up.
Absolute dream engage from the Rel. Zeus really playing that one beautifully and very comfortably taking away this kill to a very sad Hoya. So, yeah, Fredit Brion sort of like, they went around Baron a little while, they decided to pull away, then they went back again, and then they all died.
Yeah, it was really carefully played from KT Rolster, too. I'm pretty impressed with how long they held the trigger on actually going in there, forcing Fredit Brion to really kind of step in, step back. Baron reset for a moment. They had to commit back in. And KT Rolster, once their health bar started to drop a little bit on that second commitment to the Baron, they were like, okay, this is it. And they slowly closed the gap, close enough to where we could see that big engage coming through from Zeus. Very well played from KT Rolster, very patient, and now I think this lead is so big that they may even be able to grab an inhibitor here off this Baron, even with.
Oh, they definitely should be able to. This is 8,000 gold to lead. It's getting towards insurmountable territory. We'll need KT to make the proactive play to get over there, as Fredit Brion do take down this minion wave quite nicely. But as these bubbles land, it's getting scarier and scarier, and Dove has complete control of this map, which is absolutely ideal for the Zoe. Sort of a playground right now.
Yeah. Just taking pot shots. Fredit Brion have to respect it, because we can see a very similar engage and R button press if they do try to be aggressive, if they do try to walk forward and look for fights. And it's like lose-lose. If you engage in, then the Rel is going to get you, and you're going to end up getting blown up. But if you just sit and wait, the siege damage from this composition is actually insane as well. So,
yeah,
very frustrating for Fredit Brion here.
Well, Scion's on the bottom side of the map, so you can't call the choo-choo train to try and force an engage, as I thought Fredit Brion were looking for something. But, this feels like they've fallen too far behind. Dove, like you were talking about, still looking for them pot shots. Here we go. Here's the train. Will it lead? No, that's a wall. Yeah.
That's not platform 9 3/4.
Yeah. Unfortunately, he's not a wizard. He can't get through.
He's not going to Hogwarts tonight, Alice.
Yeah, no. Cancel it. Cancel it. He's going to have to find a different school, I think. As KT
boy.
will back away. So they didn't manage to break open the base, and this game is going to extend ever further. But 10,000 gold the lead for KT, the largest it feels like for this entire series.
Yeah. But, I mean, the longer this goes on, I mean, Fredit Brion are still massively behind. Like, now is the point where you can't even really talk about the scaling issue as much at this stage, right? Because KT will just slap you in a team fight straight up. But, I mean, the longer it goes on, the more volatile this game gets, and the more opportunities Fredit Brion have to take a really strong engage. Delight has been the guy who's kind of hanging out on flanks and looking for some knockups. He's hoping he's going to catch Dove or Hybrid. Like, he's hoping so bad that they are out of position. And then you can see the collapse through.
Oh, man. This is, it's still going for a very long time, given the amount of, you know, the gigantic lead that KT do have. Maybe they'll just get themselves a Mountain Soul, and that's going to be the final nail in the coffin. Just have to see. KT just more than happy to play the long game.
Yeah, I mean, they, you know, earlier on, before they started to really push their advantages, I was worried that they were too happy to play the long game. But at this stage, and with how well they engaged on that Baron fight, you know, when Fredit Brion were forcing a fight on their terms, and they still just kind of patiently walked in, forced a reset, and then had an amazing Magnet Storm engage. I kind of trust KT with the lead that they have right now to actually take these next few objective fights. It's going to take a while before we get there, but KT's like, well, I'm not going to throw my lead with no objectives on the map. Just going to play it slow, play it safe, and that's why we're going to have a really long game here, Atlas, but I appreciate it because KT is down 0-1 against the 10th place team in LCK, so definitely don't want to throw this series away.
And let's see whether we can get 3-game series for the entire week. Maybe we could do that. Like,
it's
the
possible.
Ultimate money's worth for the LCK.
I mean, Fredit Brion are making a case for maybe bringing T1 to a game 3 right now.
Yeah, right. No, exactly. Looks like KT should definitely be favored. Still, you know, crazy things can happen. But we'll have to see it to believe it. Absolutely. It's so funny, though, because this week was the week where it felt like the matches looked a little bit more one-sided, right? It looked like we had favorites in almost all of them.
Yeah.
And yet, we've had every single series going the distance.
Yeah, it certainly has been a pretty weird week for that. I mean,
yeah.
You, me, Chronicler, Valdez, we were sitting down talking about this week's matches, and we were like, well, this could be a really one-sided week that's fairly interesting as... Okay, they show themselves here by tossing that ball out.
That's Hybrid. Okay, takes half of his health bar. That's bad news. Decimating smash, but Bonnie just going to run in, run out. Ducking around. Boy is staying in position. We'll see whether the train is going to be called as Delight gets over that wall with the grand entrance. More of an exit at that point.
I'm starting to get worried about the positioning here for KT. They need to be really careful.
Oh, that bubble is god tier. Onto Henner in the back line. Fantastic work. Not able to follow up as, okay, that's a very short trip on the train. Humpty hopping on forward. Bonnie looking to try and get some boops in there, but not really feeling it as we've got Hybrid on the Drake already. Doran quite low at this point in time, and Fredit Brion not wanting to give away the Mountain Soul. Void Seeker gonna land onto Dove there as there's another Magnet Storm towards the backside. Delight launches himself into the backline, but Dove avoids it with the portal jump. Shockwave is decent, but the Samira still popping off in the fight. Double kill now, and now they're just looking to clean up. Henna is going to be the next on the chopping block, and Hoya looking to take down the Drake. Let's do it. Not gonna do it. And KT are just gonna march up the mid lane and take us to a game number 3.
That's actually just the saddest animation ever after not being able to take down the Drake, not winning the team fight. And they just did it. The Magnet Storm, Inferno Trigger once again, win the game. It's a game 3, Atlas. The week of 6 game days might continue, as this is just going to be a very, very nice team fight to lead to the victory here. Fredit Brion, they tried their best. They tried to party bush and set up for a fight, but it just did not work out.
Yeah. Nexus will go down, and congratulations to KT. Nice bounce back. Bonnie and Dove getting subbed in.